Hey y'all. I feel like I haven't worn this much makeup in a YouTube video in a really long time. I'm feeling vulnerable, but I'm back and it's time to read off of one of my favorite subreddits, Glitch in the Matrix. And I have to dive right into this because this one says, biggest glitch I've ever experienced. I'm so excited. I have been dying to find a good place to share this story as it will forever be the weirdest thing to happen to me. My dad and I like to go geocaching. If you're not familiar, geocaches are small containers hidden in public areas, usually with a logbook and sometimes small trinkets inside. You upload the GPS coordinates to a website with some information about the cache, and then people will look for them, sign the logbook, and maybe trade out trinkets. There's an app now that adds some functionality, ability to add photos, notes, hints, that kind of thing. We go to look for a specific cache one day. We look everywhere, can't find it. Frustrating, but it happens. We go back a week or two later, can't find it. It's been marked as found semi-recently, otherwise we would just assume it had gone missing. Happens sometimes. We finally give up and go elsewhere to find a couple other caches. A couple weeks later, we're out caching and decided to go back to try one more time. I check the app and see it was found since we last tried. We look around for a long time, use a hint left by the most recent finder, and finally found it. I pull out my pen to mark the log, and when I unfurl it, what does unfurl mean? The world stops for a moment because I see mine and my dad's names written at the very end of the log in my handwriting. I call my dad over and we're looking at it together. We're both confused and freaked out. I take a look again at the app and realize that the last find was from our account, and the hint we followed was one we had left. It's been years and we still talk about it some. It's one of those things where no matter how many people I tell this story to, I kind of assume people don't believe me because it's so weird and such an obvious merging of timelines. So it's nice to talk to my dad about it because I know he 100% believes me. I think we looked at the dates and our first find was on the date we had looked for it prior to the second find, but we both definitely would not have forgotten finding it because it had been driving us crazy wondering where it was. Honestly, I'm not sure why we didn't chalk it up to a cache that had gone missing. We both just couldn't stop thinking about it. I also don't know how I didn't notice the username from the recent find and hint was our username until after we found the cache. Just overall weird and definitely makes for a great story. No, I'm so sorry. Anything that's going to make me question my sanity, I'm good. And if I ever did experience something like that, I would want it to be with somebody else so they could help me not feel insane. I don't know. Okay, this says, this happened to me a few years ago, but it's still bothering me to this day. I was 19 and my sister called me to her room to show me something. She was playing a Skyrim mod where she was in a cave with spiders. She was fighting the spiders. I blinked and suddenly she was in a town. I was baffled and asked her what happened, and she said, I said to her, you were just in a cave fighting spiders and now you're in a town. She looked at me in a concerning way and said, what do you mean? That happened like 30 minutes ago. You saw me come to the town through the main gates. I was just baffled and started to question if I was having a stroke. So I ran back to my room in a panic, wondering how I just apparently stood there for 30 minutes with no memory of that 30 minutes even existing. Eventually I calmed down and moved on in my life without something similar happening again. Any explanations for what happened? I just closed my eyes for a split second and 30 minutes went by apparently. How is that possible? I had something like that happen to me recently, but I was dissociated from a traumatic event. So that's my explanation. But your sister playing Skyrim is not like inherently traumatic. My husband has had this kind of shit happen to him all the time. Given the title, what? I don't want to read the title because I don't want to give it away. But my favorite example is when his sock turned into a hat. A few years ago, he lost one of his red and black striped socks. After giving up on it for a few months, mysteriously, a red and black striped hat he had never seen before showed up in his wardrobe. He never bought the hat and no one recognized it or knew where it came from. I just don't even, my husband has this stuff happen to him all the time. What do you mean? Do all of his socks turn into hats? Boyfriend came home, but it wasn't him. This happened a few months ago and I've been meaning to post it here, but it honestly freaked me out so bad that I didn't want to write it out for a while. I'm curious about any similar experiences. Some background, I live in a college house, owned by the college and close to campus, with two of my friends. But my boyfriend has been sort of an unofficial fourth housemate for a while now. He's good friends with many of my friends, especially the ones who live in the house, so it's safe to say they know him and what he looks like extremely well. This is important. Our house is directly next to a big parking lot which is fully lit with streetlights at night, like a grocery store or a mall parking lot, that belongs to one of our college's sports facilities, and it's completely empty about 80% of the time, unless there's a game or practice. This is where my boyfriend and any friends who come to visit will park when they come over. The night this happened, my boyfriend was at his fraternity house for an event, but was planning to come over to our house afterwards. Just me and one other friend were awake and both sitting together on our front porch, talking, not drinking or anything of the sort, when we saw my boyfriend's car coming down the road parallel to our house in the parking lot. It's also important to note that my boyfriend has a very distinct car, foreign car outside modifications, unusual color, and we live in a relatively small town where I still to this day have never seen anyone with the same car. I wasn't sure for a second that it was him, as he usually calls me on his way home from almost anywhere, and he hadn't done that. But as his car got closer and started to turn into the parking lot, I was absolutely certain it was him. Like I said, the lot is fully lit up at night, so not only did I see the car in full light, but I could see through the window enough to see that it was him. We thought so much so that it was him that my friend and I got up and started walking to the lot to greet him. She got over there just a moment sooner than me and waved at him as he was pulling in, but he only looked at her and kept driving through to the other side of the lot. As it would be in character, we thought surely he was fucking with us and was gonna turn around, but we watched as he pulled out of the parking lot fully and drove down the road in the opposite direction he had came. I called him immediately, thought maybe he left something at the frat house or was doing a really elaborate and now slightly annoying bit. When I tell you my jaw dropped when he answered, and I could hear from the background he was still at the frat house, music, people talking, even though I could still see his car driving down the road. I asked if he had just been home and left for some reason. He said he hadn't, but he was probably gonna leave soon. He asked why, and I just told him I would explain later, and I hung up. My friend was so freaked out she didn't want to talk about it and still doesn't like it when I bring it up. We both saw him, and she definitely got a better look and swears on everything that it was him driving. Hell, I know for absolute sure it was his car. We've had a few other weird experiences in this house that oddly enough center around my boyfriend, and it's hard to tell if it's more paranormal or glitch in the matrix, but this one absolutely felt like a glitch, especially considering that him coming down our road and turning into the parking lot is a routine thing that happens at least 10 times a week. Guess the universe was just ahead by a few minutes that night and played that track of my boyfriend coming home too early. I also, if I was your friend, would be so scared and also wouldn't want to talk about it. But I am genuinely curious, what did your boyfriend say when you told him? I'm convinced it was a prank. It was a full-blown prank. He had a YouTube video of a party playing in the background in that car. I don't know, I don't like it. I'm not sure if this is considered a glitch, a time slip, or just delusion, but this is something that happened to me and my family that we can't explain. Summer 2011, in the car was me, 19, my sister, dad, and stepmom, and we were on our way to a campsite. We had other family joining us, my uncle and Nan both arriving separately, calling us saying they were setting off, did we need anything from the shops, and to let us know their arrival time. We were over halfway there. They would be arriving about 3 hours after us. We carried on driving, switched radio stations, and went through a tunnel. When we came out, the phone was ringing again. It was my Nan asking where we were, kind of relieved that she had gotten a hold of us. My Nan and uncle had already arrived at the campsite. My dad said, "Oh, so you're already there? Save us a pitch then." And my Nan responded, "Where have you been if you're still on your way?" The conversation didn't make sense. My dad got frustrated and said, "What do you mean, where have we been? You just spoke to us." My Nan told us, "We've been calling you because we couldn't get a hold of you." My stepmom pointed to the time on the radio, and about 4 hours had passed. 4 hours had passed in 30 seconds. My dad ended the call with my Nan, and for a moment we were silent. My sister said, "What's going on?" My dad said the time must have changed when we changed the radio station and our family was playing a dumb joke. Our phones showed the time had passed. Again, silence. We arrived, briefly spoke about it with family, and ignored it. We spoke about it maybe 2 or 3 times. My dad is either convinced that we went through a time vortex, got abducted, or were jokingly drugged by our stepmom. My stepmom says we must have had the times wrong, or at worst had some shared delusions or amnesia. Either way, we don't know what happened. But it's like, you were still in the car and you were coming out of the tunnel. So I feel like you have that memory of you going through the tunnel. So what do you mean it was amnesia? Like the car was moving, you were going through the tunnel, and it was like the tunnel was like a time vortex. I don't know. Unexplained photo on friend's phone. One day, my friend and me went to pick up her baby daddy at the time at his job, which was a big casino in town, and she left me in the car for about 30-ish minutes. I remember the whole thing. I was sitting in the passenger seat alone, no one else in the car. I took one selfie of me on her phone, never moved out of her passenger seat. They got back in the car. She never looked at her phone until we got back to the house. While she was checking her phone, she looks up at me and said, "Who were you with in my car?" I was confused. I said, "There was no one else." She showed me the photo, and it's of me sitting in the driver's seat with a girl in the passenger seat next to me smiling for the photo. I said, "Yeah, I had no words for a little bit. I said, "I don't know who that is, and I never change seats." Not one of us knows who the girl is. Still to this day, we have no idea who's in that photo or how it got there. I was in the same outfit and everything from that day. We asked our friends if they knew her. No one had an answer. I know for a fact I never changed seats, and I wouldn't get some random girl to take a photo with me inside my friend's car at that. The photo is on my friend's old laptop. It's still here, very strange, and we talk about it from time to time. And we've had a few other experiences over the years as well. Somebody commented that they're like, I don't think you're making a big enough deal about this. That's fucking weird and creepy. And I agree. The way you worded it was kind of calm. Way too calm. Who the hell is in the photo? Because I would say it was paranormal or something if you were still in the passenger seat in the photo. But the fact that you're in the driver's seat, that's where I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because a ghost being in the background smiling, okay, that's one thing. Don't want that, but that's one thing. But the fact that you completely moved and no, I'm good. This one says, help, what the fuck just happened to me? So I went to the kitchen and put bagel slices in the toaster. The front of the toaster where the lever and dial is facing me, and the back of the toaster was facing against the wall. They put that in all caps. After I pulled down the lever and let the slices toast, I went to my fridge to get some cheese. When I returned to the toaster just a minute later to get the slices, I noticed the lever is missing and the toaster is just blank. I was so confused when I realized the back of the toaster is now facing me, and the front of the toaster with the lever and dial is now facing the wall. What the fuck? I'm alone in the kitchen, and I swear I did not touch the toaster since I pulled down the toaster lever. It's as though in seconds that I left to get cheese, something turned my toaster perfectly 180 degrees. I can't process what happened. I literally can't think anymore. This is weird. The toaster would be gone. The toaster would be out the window. I don't care, haunted toaster. Just had a glitch I cannot explain. I work from home and often sit on my couch to do office tasks in the afternoon. I sit with a side table on my left and an organizer bin to my right. Since I do this often, I have chargers laying just right, supplies on the side table, etc. I went to lift my phone a few minutes ago and stupidly grabbed it by the charger. It got snagged on the couch and ended up falling between the couch cushion and the armrest. Because of the way I heard it fall and how loud it was, I actually thought the phone fell all the way through the couch and onto the floor. I got on my hands and knees and looked under the couch. When I didn't see it, I realized it had not fallen all the way through and was actually stuck inside the couch itself. After moving the organizer bin, pillow, and couch cushion, I could see a small hole where the phone must have fallen perfectly, allowing it to go into the couch. I attempted to stick my arm into the hole, but then had no choice but to rip the lining of the couch in order to get my hand close enough to my phone to grab it. I got my phone and cringed at the amount of crumbs that were attached to it. Ugh. I wiped it off, plugged it back into the charger, and placed it on the side table, while mentally noting how close I had just come to damaging it since it was delivered to me only 24 hours ago and is brand new. I then put my workspace and cushion back, added a pillow to the side of the couch nearest to the side table so nothing could fall back into the hole. I was thinking about how I was going to go about fixing the hole I had just ripped in the lining when I reached for my phone on the side table. It wasn't there. I stood up and looked around, comically patting my non-existent pockets. I looked under the couch, in my organizer bin, everywhere. Then, I dinged my phone with my watch and I could hear it. It was inside the couch. I removed the pillow and cushion and went to reach my hand in the hole in the lining, but I couldn't. The hole wasn't big enough. I had to rip it again. Here's how I know it was a glitch and cannot be explained away. 1. I'm home alone. Nobody could have moved it. Even if I wasn't alone, I hadn't left the room. This all happened within a few moments. 2. I heard it fall through the couch the first time. It was loud and undeniable. I would have heard it fall if it happened again. There are no sounds in this room except for my dog softly snoring. 3. I plugged it back into its charger after I got it out of the couch the first time. Even if it had somehow fallen, the charger would have been moved, but it wasn't. It was laying just as I had laid it, only it wasn't attached to the phone like it should have been. 4. I had to rip the lining again. It was as though the universe reset me by like 2 minutes and my phone went back to the couch and the lining unripped. I can't explain this. It finally happened to me. I experienced a glitch. That would be the end for me. That would be the end because I would actually think I'm going insane. Does anyone else have this irrational fear that they're like absolutely just batshit crazy and nobody will tell them? And everyone around them is like fake, doesn't exist. And like when you talk to people about other people, real people, about your fake friends, they're just like, oh God, like let's just let her have this. That's my fear. Like, do you guys even, I'm like, am I talking? Do I even have a camera set up in front of me right now? I have OCD. So this is gonna sound weird and I'm hoping I'm not alone in this. The other day around Challenger Park in Bakersfield, California, there was a black SUV with tinted windows driving crazy and headed towards the auto mall. As it was heading that way, I noticed that it looked like it was going to jump the curb and go into the park. And as quickly as that happened, I shit you not, the whole vehicle just vanished. Like magic, or something out of a movie. The only reason why I'm writing it on here is because the car behind me honked and I pulled over. He asked if I saw what he saw and the vehicle disappeared. I said yes, and he was like, I thought I was on drugs or something, but I saw it and he saw it. It was the scariest thing I've ever witnessed, and I hope someone out there has seen something similar in that area or anything like that. It's left me freaking out. This happened a few days ago, and I've been contemplating even writing this due to people saying I'm crazy, but I hope somebody else has had a similar experience. The fact that the person behind you saw it too, and you guys have no relation to each other, you were just two people driving, it happened. Oh my God, it literally happened. Okay, I think this is the last one I'm gonna read. Same guy died twice. 7 years ago, while visiting my grandparents, they told me their next door neighbor's son committed suicide in their house a few days prior. He was about 30 and had some tough mental health struggles. It was fairly traumatic as he had children in the house who witnessed the event. Oh my God. The children were sent to my grandparents' house for a few hours while the ambulances were called and the scene was cleared up. It was clearly horrendous for all involved, and the somber conversation took up most of the afternoon and my grandmother breaking down in tears. My grandmother sadly passed between then and now, and my grandfather is also getting on in life. My mother called me a few weeks ago to tell me my grandparents' neighbor's son committed suicide the day before, and essentially retold me the entire story down to the children going to my granddad's house while their home is cleared up. I told her I knew and it happened years ago. She told me it was yesterday. Both utterly confused, I ended the call and was genuinely worried about my mother. She's late 50s now, retelling me old stories, so I called my very elderly granddad, who broke down on the phone and was utterly shell-shocked, telling me he had to look after the poor kids. So I'm thinking maybe my granddad is having issues with his memory and has retold my mom, and somehow she didn't remember it happening years ago. Wanting to check my own sanity at this point, I called my daughter and she confirmed that I had told her the guy passed away years ago. It was common knowledge, and I'm sure we discussed it many times. We came to the conclusion my grandfather was accidentally gaslighting my mom, only he wasn't. The funeral was the following week. They both attended and the death was in the local newspaper. My granddad has zero recollection of telling me with my grandma years ago. What the fuck? That is the saddest fucking thing I've ever read, one. But that's also just, I mean, I have like literally no words for that. That's heartbreaking. Because I'm like, for you to remember it and like your daughter to remember it, I'm like almost grateful that your grandfather doesn't remember it already happening, because to go through that twice, to go, oh my God, oh my God, I wish I didn't read that one. I wish I didn't. I'm like, should we find one more? I don't know. I'm just gonna read one more so we don't end on that, because that's so sad. Oh my God, okay, I finally have one to share. I might be a time traveler. I was driving back from a friend's and my dad drove past me. In the car we owned 20 years ago with the crack in the windshield. He tried to swat a fly and his ring caught the glass wrong when I was 9. Wearing a lambskin jacket and a farmer's flat cap he used to live in but lost when we moved when I was 11. There were 2 kids in the back who were about the right age and hair color to have been me and my little brother 20 plus years ago. Absolutely no mistaking it was him. I had stopped to let him through a bottleneck in the road. My dad has significant and very distinctive facial scarring from an accident and subsequent facial reconstruction when I was 3. I was really rattled and had to pull over for a bit. I almost wish I had followed the car instead of just pulling off the road and having a cigarette, but I was shaking and would not have been safe driving. After my cigarette, I called my stepmom, asked where he was. He was on the couch at his flat, at least 2 hours away. This is absolutely breaking my brain. Did we time travel as kids coming back from visiting family? Is there a random terror in space in the middle of a random Yorkshire village? I have absolutely no explanation, and I absolutely know it was him/us. Have I altered something by driving past myself? Am I going mad? I don't know, but I feel like I'm going mad. We're done. Kind of started to lose my voice there on the last one. I usually read one last story when I can feel my voice slowly fading away, but I just had to get rid of the other story in my head, even though I'm reminding myself now, so now I'm back. Now I'm sad again. That's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any weird glitch in the matrix stories you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. I got a tiny bit of rambling to do at the end of this, and I said that a couple videos ago and ended up rambling for like 20 minutes, so we'll see if it's even just a tad, but I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye. You guys are seeing this like way after I'm filming it, but I'm doing a market this weekend and I'm super, super excited. The only issue is that my business partner, Paige, is not in town. She's in Guatemala, which is amazing. I'm so jealous. I'm like living through her right now. I'm scared of traveling, so. But I'm doing a market this weekend. I'm forcing my boyfriend to do it with me. because he's the best, and I know he doesn't want to do it, but he's going to because I want to do it. But I've been making so much stuff, you guys, so much stuff, and I wanted to show you a couple things that I've made because I'm really excited. And if they don't sell at the market, then I'm gonna list them on Etsy on our Petal and Clover shop, which is always linked down below. But I want to show you. Let me get them. I'm like really proud of these ones. I feel like they're just so pretty. I got like the best florals, you guys. Which actually, so most of the florals that I get are just from like Michael's or Goodwill. I try to thrift florals when I can. But I think most of these are from Michael's and fucking Walmart. Walmart has insane florals and they're pretty cheap. Like I think the bundles were like $2 or $3, which is not that bad. But I was able to make like 5 or 6, because I still have more. I could probably make like 6 arrangements with all the bundles I got, and I only spent like $10. This is the first one. It's like a little kitty like cup thing. I think this may have been for toothbrushes. I don't know, but I turned it into a vase. And then it just like the prettiest like white florals. Look at the kitties. Can you see it? Can you see it? Focus on the cats. Oh, there we go. There we go. I love this one. This is a little one, and this is going to be a cheaper one because it's obviously smaller. And this one actually did not take me long at all, which I feel like floral arrangements used to take me like hours to make because I was so like, I don't know how to like explain it. I was so picky with the placement of them, and I just feel like over time I've gotten better with the placement, and I have a vision in my head before I make it so I can make it a lot faster. So they could be cheaper because I'm not spending nearly as much time too. And I feel like they're prettier when I don't fucking pay so much fucking attention. And then this one I actually just made this morning, and I'm like obsessed with this guy like hanging out because I think it'd be pretty like sitting on a table with this like kind of wrapped around the front, but just dangling off right now. But this one has like little hints of kind of like a yellowy like brown kind of vibe, and I like the little vase. I think it's cute. All the vases are thrifted, by the way. I thrift like everything that is the base of something that I make, if that makes sense. Like the books, the pots, the vases, all that stuff. And then actually I thrifted this plant. So this little guy. I have a couple more, but I'm not gonna make you sit here and look at all of them because that'd be insane. But these are my favorite ones. And I have to show you this one because this is incredible and I kind of want to keep it. This one is massive, but this is the prettiest vase I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And yeah, okay, and when I tell you, I mean I bought like, okay, let's say I bought 6 bundles from Walmart, so I probably spent like $12 actually, not including tax, so I lied to you before. But the fact that I was able, I probably used 2 full ones in this, and then I also used some flowers from like Michael's and stuff, but this is incredible. I'm like, I don't really know how to show you. The back is mostly just like greenery, but this vase is insane, insane. I thrifted this and I was shook to my core when I saw it. I love this so much. And I posted a picture of it on Instagram, on the Petal and Clover Instagram, but I actually went ahead and like redid the front since I posted the picture because I had it like pushed in at first, like the front was pushed in, which if you go look at the photo, you'll see that. And I thought when I first did it, I was like, I feel like I'll like this. Like I'm just gonna like go around it now because I did the front like first. And so I thought I liked it. And then after I was done with everything else, I just didn't like it. It looked out of place. It looked incomplete to me. So I went ahead and pulled everything forward and I like it a lot better now. Thank God. That's it. I have been like grinding on Petal and Clover stuff and Depop. You guys have no idea. My whole life is consumed. But I just wanted to show you guys that because those have been my fun little projects recently. I've made like 5 floral arrangements and a million books. I love the books. But I won't show you anymore right now because I don't know if you care. Okay, I'm gonna go because I have nothing else to ramble about. But I love you guys so much. See ya.